Hey all, welcome back. So a week or two ago I made a video about the power seat switches in these 70s, these eras Continentals, and this could go for, I would imagine, any of the, Ford LTD or Mercury, Grand Marquis of the same. It should, and also the any of the Mark series. Specifically this Continental town car is a 79, and we were talking about in that video the possibility of me upgrading to power seat switches. This is out of a 1995 town car. This one's out of an 85 town car, not any different than the 95. To go over again why one would want to do that, because I've decided it's the best way to go. First and foremost, these power seat switches, this is a good switch, best that I can come up with, but it's not, this is what they should look like. They've got this kind of a shrink wrap type of stuff coated around it. You can see it like there. They just plug into, this is a base. This is what this car would have, and they just plug straight in. And we'll see a little bit more of this when as we go through this whole deal. Switch from the 1995. Obviously is similar, but it is different. The pins, just about grab the same one. You can see that the pins are, arranged different. There's the same amount of them, but they're just arranged different. Matter of fact, I'm holding this. Okay. See the top ones, down, or the bottom ones down here are the same. It's these ones as you get up here that are arranged different. So anyways, this is the base. Got the whole thing, got this whole setup out of the wrecking yard. I even tried to get one of these for a 95 town car, from our local Napa auto parts store, and they had nothing available to come up with for these even being new. I reckon you can probably go to Ford and get these brand new. These are a lot better quality switches than these were here. Once they changed them, basically in I don't know, I'm pretty sure it would have been 81, they would have had a switch just like this, because like I said, this switch came out of an 85 and there's virtually no difference there. This one's got a little bit of green corrosion we need to clean off of here. And I'm probably going to use this switch out of the 95. So yeah, I was saying that these are better quality, or these are made better quality. The switches feel a lot better. And the problem that you have with the switches that are in these cars is they could end up looking like this. This switch came out of this car. You can see it got very, very hot. There's a lot of corrosion, looks really bad. There's corrosion inside of here. If the switch got this hot, it could definitely get hot enough to start a fire. And that is not something that you want to have happen. The other thing is you notice with this switch that, these are nice and smooth. And then you get into this switch that came out of this car, and you got it, and see, like right there, you really got to force that, both sides. That stayed, and then it barely goes, So not only can these switches fail, that what potentially could go wrong is you know, these switches can fail. Yes, you can push this, you know, forward and make no contact and make the seat not move. The other way that these switches can fail is that you could push this thing forward and the seat will tilt forward, and when it gets to where you want it to go, you let off of it and it still continues on until it reaches the end of its travel, and then it still continues to go because this switch can't break contact when these get so corroded inside here, and they're just not sealed that well. That's what could possibly happen, and I'll show you in the switch that's on this car something that, you know, they do and everything like that, because I've got one in here right now that doesn't have any of this shrink wrap stuff on it, and we'll see, you know, I'll show you that. But what we successfully did is we installed the switch from the 95. We did it on the passenger side, and there's the same amount of wires between these and these. The cool thing is they are the same color, but in my experience with this car and wiring it up, as I went color to color, just exactly like, you know, you've got a yellow with a blue stripe going with it, kind of like that, and you find another yellow with a blue stripe. I'm not sure if you can see that or not. Really light blue. Anyways, put those together. You've got a red with a blue stripe, and another red with a blue stripe. You know, you've got a red with a green stripe. Here's a red with a green stripe. So all of your colors match up, but what I found was this was completely backwards, or I guess I should say this was backwards, so that when you went like this, you would, like, you know, expect to have this in the car, you know, when you went back with it, and this could be showing up backwards on this camera with it facing the way it is, but anyways, I apologize, but it will make more sense as we get into it. But when you move this back, the seat went forward, and then also your front end, because it's labeled in there. Let's go have a look at it on the car. So we'll get a different camera view and we'll go check it out on the car. So okay, so as you can see, this switch from the 1995 town car matches your buttons here. Everything looks all nice and proper, like it's supposed to be there. What I was saying before was when you move this thing, you know, back, your seat would go back. So, but now, if I can get this whole deal in the frame, when you push it forward, your seat goes forward. Now we'll move it back. Okay. See how it's labeled front tilt and rear tilt. So the other thing when I got to wiring it up together was not only were the directions backwards, because, you know, when I envision these switches and the way they work is, you know, let's say for the rear tilt, you know, if you push this forward, I would want the back of the chair to go this direction. And when you move the switch back, I would want that tilt to go back. Well, they were backwards, but they were also, when you did the front tilt, you were actually doing the rear tilt and vice versa. So we got it all correct now, that when we do the, so we're going to be doing the rear tilt, and we're going to push it forward. So there's the rear tilt. Now we'll go back. So now we're going to run the front tilt. See how the front seat's now going and we're gonna go back. That's how I wanted it to go. And then I'll show you inside here when we do the other side over there as to what wires we had to change. Anyways, let's get to it. Okay, so this is a schematic that I pulled up for the wiring, and this happens to be for the 95 Lincoln Town Car. So this is your switch right here, and obviously you've got your front height motor, forward rearward motor, and your rear height motor. So coming out of your switch, you've got a red and light green, then you've got a yellow and light green. So those two wires will run this motor. And the way this switch is doing, so you've got your power coming in here, and it's hot all the time because you can move these seats and stuff without the car being on. So you got your power coming in, and you've got, it's branched out between all of these circuits right here, every single one of these contacts. And then that happens to be a black with a white stripe. Then you got just a black wire, and that one's going to be your ground. So what you're doing is when you move this switch to go one direction, it's going to send power in this way and a ground on this side. When you go the opposite direction, you're just switching the polarity. You're going to be putting positive on this side of the motor and a ground on this side of the motor. So, you know, if your thing goes one way and doesn't go the other way, it's most likely a either a switch or cables, you know, but it's most likely not the motor. It would be really hard pressed to have a motor work one direction and not the other because it's just got two leads coming out of it. It'd be really, I can say it's impossible, but so you got your forward, backward, which is a red and white and a yellow and white stripe. So those two wires coming out of your switch for your forward and backward. We didn't do the side to side, but that does your you know, lifts the whole seat, does them both at the same time, you know, kind of deal. I don't really ever use that function. But then, okay, so here we got your front height. So we got a red and light blue, and a yellow and light blue. So pay attention here because this is where it gets confusing. So for your front tilt, which is right here, and I should have wrote these in the same order as, you know, it is up here, but it's not. I apologize. But front tilt, which is your front height motor, out of your 1995 switch, because that's up here, which is let me pause for a second. Never mind, it's right here. So you have, for your front tilt, you have a yellow with a green stripe and a red with a green stripe, which is, oh, come on. Sorry, guys. Okay, so that's these two wires right here, which correspond with that switch there. Okay. Now, everything down here is your wiring harness, which would be opposite of this, but the same, you know, colors. That would be, that's for this car. So, in order to make this work, you need to mate this yellow and green with your yellow and blue stripe. You need to mate your red with a green stripe to your red with a blue stripe. For your rear tilt, this gets a little bit more confusing, but you need to mate your yellow with a blue stripe to your red with a green stripe. you need to mate this red with the blue stripe to this yellow with a green stripe. Confusing enough yet? Just basically pause this. You know, I'm sorry for my really bad handwriting, but that's, you know, just the way it is. So you're forward and rearward. Out of this switch, down here, you've got a yellow with a white stripe and a red with a white stripe. Okay? The two wires that all stay the same are these two, your black ones. But to make the switch, this switch, work in this car, you've got to mate your yellow with your white stripe to the red with a white stripe. It's just basically flipping them backwards, and take this red with a white stripe and mate it with this yellow with a white stripe. It's confusing, I know, but that's the way it needs to be to work on this car. Why that is, I don't know. That's just, you know, they've used the same colors, but the wires just don't do the same thing as they did before. Why that is, I have no idea, but that's the way it is. And so let's have a look-see at one of the original switches that I have in here. And just to, you know, I went and got a whole slew of these switches from wrecking yards. A couple of them came from eBay. They're all used, but none of them are in that great a shape. And with the potential fire hazard that these can cause, I just was afraid to use any of them. I'm still going to investigate trying to pull these apart and do an extensive cleaning and rebuild these, but I haven't done that yet. And so that's where we're at with this and why we're doing this. So let's let me show you guys something else. Okay, so if you already don't know, we'll just go ahead and go through this. Just grab this as a you know, your deal to run your, or your, to adjust your mirror. And if you oh, I might need to actually get a pair of pliers. Just very, very carefully. Had to get it. I put it on hand tight last time I was in here. So this ring just unscrews off of that. That way, you know, this kind of stays in position. You'll see that in just a second. There's a screw back here. Pull it out. I can usually grab a hold of this right here. The back part comes out, and then slide it back a little bit because there's this tab. You can see that hopefully. And the whole thing just comes out. So, give a little bit of a close-up shot there. So what we need to do next is we need to take this screw out and this screw out. Now if you have a car that's a few years older, you might have it look like this, where you'll have these studs that's just held on with these little nuts here. Same idea, it's just in this car we've got a screw going down the other direction, so I thought I'd just point that out. Okay, so get these screws all to here. And then your whole switch just comes out, and then obviously we just you know, pull it away from the plug-in. But with this on here, I wanted to see if I can show you what you see in here. See that sparking going on? See that? It happens every time you run these things, and it just, over time, it corrodes more and corrodes more, and eventually these switches just get, you know, and these newer switches from the 95 town car are just a lot better made for the obvious reasons that, you know, they changed them. Because if these were the best way to go, these would still be in the 95s and on up. So that's why, you know, that's why we're switching these, because I just don't like the quality of these, and I haven't found any good ones yet. And that's what we're gonna do. So first thing we do is, you know, pull the switch out of here. The next step we need to do is go unhook the batteries. Alright, so the batteries, or battery, used to working on diesel pickups where you got two batteries. With the battery unhooked, we're gonna just go ahead and you know, this base is no good. It got really extremely hot. You can see this melted. That's exactly why. We're just gonna get this out of here. Okay, so since, like I said, this base isn't any good, I'm gonna clip these wires. You know, if this was still good, I would probably clip the wires down in this area, you know, so that maybe I could keep this, or, you know, or sell it or something. But the thing is it's not any good, so I'm just gonna clip them clear over here. That way I don't get it mixed up with anything else. And I'm just going to clip all these wires, all about, you know, similar length. To make it easier, we'll this stuff sometimes just rips real easy. It's just old, you know, tape. Get these things kind of all straightened out. And then unplug the switch from here. Now, start with the two wires that do actually go together. So you've got this black with a white stripe, and you've got this black with a white stripe. We'll put it together. So I like using these shrink style butt connectors. You can also solder these. You know, this being inside the car here, it's not as critical to, you know, but if you you shouldn't be driving these things in salt, but if you do, I guess, you know, having better connections and whatnot, or but this usually works pretty well. And you just take a heat gun, go over the top of that. So the next wire is just the solid black, so we're going to put it together. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start with the forward and backward. I just want to see if, you know, wiring is going to be the same on that side as it on this side. I suspect it's going to be, but I guess there's always a chance that it may not. But sorry, I'm going to move this bucket instead of sitting down here on my knees. Okay, so when I showed you this deal before, we've got our forward and we've got our rearward right here. So we're going to be looking for a we're going to be hooking this yellow with white stripe to the red with a white stripe, and then over here we're going to put this red with a white stripe to this yellow with a white stripe. So I'm going to find this red with a white stripe. And then we're going to find this yellow with the white stripe. One thing is nice is it is staying, you know, pretty consistent with the stripes at least until you get into the other part of it. It's just a little confusing, but same color wires, they just all do different things. So get that hooked together. So you can see we got red white stripe to a yellow white stripe. Okay, a little tug on it, make sure it's good. So now we're going to be looking for a yellow with white stripe down here. When I say down here, I'm meaning the wiring in the car. And then we'll be putting it together with the red with white stripe from the switch. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to go hook the batteries up and just see if this forward and backwards works like it's supposed to. Okay, battery hooked back up. Mount this switch, and I gotta move the camera because it's sitting on the seat. So, boom. All the way forward, all the way back. Right on. Okay. So now, no matter which one you work on, so I'm going to go ahead and start with, you got what we got left are these four right here, and it does get confusing, but you've got rear tilt and front tilt labeled right there. So if your switch is in here like this is going to be your rear tilt, and this is going to be your front tilt. So your rear tilt right here, we've got a yellow with a blue stripe, and we've got a red with a blue stripe. So everything's looking good so far. That if we go back here to my diagram, and we've got rear tilt, we've got our yellow with the blue stripe and red with the blue stripe. So we need to mate this yellow with the blue stripe over here to this red with a green stripe. And then we need to do this red with a blue stripe to this yellow with a green stripe. Crazy that ended up being the way it is. So, like I said, we're going to start with this yellow with a blue stripe. And we are going to mate it with this red with a green stripe. Now I didn't unhook the battery this time, but none of these are powered up with anything. It's just your two black wires. So as long as you don't bump the switch, and you could take the switch, you know, off of this deal if you're, you know, worried about that. So, all right, so we got this yellow with a blue stripe, and made it with this red with a green stripe. That. Okay. The next one, we've got this red with a blue stripe that's going to go to this yellow with a green stripe. And as you go, just double check, you know, red with blue stripe, yellow with green stripe. Look back down. You know, what you could do is kind of pause the video and try to draw this out. You might be able to make your handwriting a lot easier to read than mine. Okay, so rear tilt should be working. So we're going to push this forward, which is the direction I expected that to go. Move this back, and that's the direction I expected it to go. And see, we've got the forward and backward. Only thing left is this switch. Okay, for this one, I've got these two wires left. This is your forward front tilt. So we've got a yellow with a green stripe, and we've got a red with a green stripe. So this yellow with a green stripe is going to go. So we're working on this right here. So we got this yellow with a green stripe, and we're going to put it with a yellow and a blue stripe. Why it's that way, I have no idea, but that's the way it is, and that's the way it works. So, two yellow wires, just one has a blue stripe and one has a green stripe. Yellow, blue, orange, red, fuchsia. All different sorts of colors. Hope you're not colorblind. Okay, so Basically, we got 2 red wires. This one has a green stripe, and this one right here has a blue stripe. Put those together. This really isn't that hard to do. All of it together. It's just took me a little longer than this, just finding the wires. When I hooked it all up, matching all the colors and everything worked. It just was backward on the switch, and I didn't like that. Okay, so now we're going to be operating this switch for our front tilt, and we're going to push this forward, and that corresponds with the direction the chair goes. That's how I like it, so that's how I want it. See how it goes up? Alright. Now if you do this, it does both sides at the same time, until everything reaches the end of its travel. So I don't like to run it that way too much, but anyways, that's the way it goes. So next step is getting this put in to the base, and we'll show you what we've got going on there. Okay, so we got this put in here. We got the one screw over there, but you notice that there's no ear on this side, how we had it on the old one. So I'll show you what we do with that. We just get us a washer like this, and I'll show you this up close once I get it put in here. Got it tight down on there. It's crooked, but it's on there. I could probably get it, even straight across, and even have it hold down this side too. But it's tight. It's in there, and so we got forward, backward. We got rear tilt. And we got front tilt, all corresponding with the correct directions that you would expect it to go. So our next step is we're going to heat and shrink these down. Yeah, so we just take a heat gun and Okay. Then just for extra precaution, I just go ahead and wrap some black electrical tape around it. I was just done, and now I'm out of tape. Perfect, perfect. So get this thing put back in here. Okay, I decided I was going to put this washer on a little bit more better, a little level, but it's in here, and you got kind of a little crack right there in this base, but it should be just fine. Most of it's going to be held on with this screw anyhow, so that's that. All right, get this these wires shoved back down in here. I usually grab a hold of this through here, pull it up through, get it good, you know, and then start the tab down in there first. Do whatever you want to do. I usually just go with this one-handed and just hold this deal up. It's not really going to fall out of there, but it's, you know, it can't really go that far, but I just like to hold it in place and then get the this thing mounted where it needs to go. Like I said, you can let it go and it'll stay. Get that on there. Get this thing started, and then just kind of pull up on it and turn the ring. And it just needs to be, last time I thought I did it hand tight, but apparently not. So that's that, and you can see everything, you know, matches really well. And we got forward and backward. We've got front tilt. Okay, and we've got rear tilt. All corresponding to the direction that you would think it would go with this switch. So, boom, there we go. Well, that's what we decided to do. So hopefully if you're able to follow along there, we were able to install the switches from the 1995 Lincoln Town Car into the 1979 Continental Town Car. In place of these, my only reservations for the whole thing was, well, they're not, you know, original parts, and you are, you know, changing the base, and you know, I want to keep this car original as best I possibly can, but I feel a lot safer with these switches in here than I do any of these. And you know, if I could find these brand new, I would have just went this route, you know, and just kept it, kept watch on it and all that kind of stuff. Would have just went that route, but I wasn't able to find them new and finding them used didn't turn out to be very good because, well, I have a whole slew of these switches and none of them I feel comfortable with putting into this car because I don't trust the fire hazard that could be lurking around in there. So that's what we decided to do. Right quick, if anybody needs something like this is for the passenger side. I just can't use it in this car because it's a different design. It's probably from an older 76, 77 possibly. The switch, this switch right here is, I can put in my best quality switch that I think out of these and put it in there to have it come with it. You know, these seem to work real good and everything. It does have the back, you know, this is how I ordered it and it came just like this. I ordered it because it had these in it and that's what I was looking for, but I don't need the whole thing. And so the rest of this, you know, like I said, I can't use it for this car. If you see this video and you're interested in this, because if it matches yours, just get in contact with me. I'll put my email address right in here, and send me an email and let me know if you'd be interested in it, because like I said, I can't use it in this car and it's for somebody. So with that, you know, thanks for watching, and you know, if you do have any questions or whatever, let me know. Thank you. Thanks for watching.